Hey, I'm Mitchell. Welcome to my shop. You don't want to miss this video today because I'm playing with my tail. You want to watch? Trust me. So today I'm working on the horizontal and the servos. These hatches are pretty horribly done. They're pretty crooked. This one sits a little off, and then this one, the servo, is definitely, it's just a little off. But if I don't stop fixing other people's problems here, I will be building on this thing for another year. So I'm just going to leave it alone and let it be. I mean, stuff like this drives me crazy. I mean, you got these holes right, but yet you missed that hole. So, you know, I'm going to put this back in here and re-drill the hole, fill that little hole in. Same on this side. They missed one on that side. That's why I have a little mark right here that I've got to redo. And even these slots, this coming to that is crooked. One of them's way crooked, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. But I tell you, working on other people's stuff is quite aggravating. You can tell that servo straight up and down, so it's pretty well correct. This one sits off a little bit. It may be that I can move it in the one splined over, but it's probably as close as you're going to get it. Now for Loctite, I like to use this canopy glue, and I just coat the screw in it. Works really good. It doesn't come loose, but it does allow you to get the screw back out. Sometimes some Loctites just don't allow you to get it back out again. Now you might say, why am I Loctiting this down, and why wouldn't I do that later? Well, I'm going to paint the servos in the airplane. They're not coming out. This is it. Once I screwed these down and get this plate mounted, it's not ever coming back off again. And even when it gets painted, everything's going to be the same color and blend in. So I don't care if the paint and the arms and the servo gets a little paint on it. It don't bother me at all. I just want it all to blend in and match. So what I did here is, when the original hatch, whoever put it in, there were just flat edges. So I've gone around everything and beveled the edges, just so that when you look at this, it's just not going to stick you in the face and say, oh man, that's sticking out. You can tell I have really changed it where it looks a whole lot better, and I'm very happy with that. When it was just a flat piece, it just looked like crap. So now we've blended it in, and nobody will ever see that. I'm fixing to put this little arm on, and this came with the kit, but what I want to show you in a minute, in case you don't know, when you put in arms like this or wheel collars on, you should file a little bit of a flat spot, and I'm going to show that in just a minute. So there's a little flat spot I was talking about. You do that and that arm won't ever come off. Plus I'm going to mix up some JB weld and secure this thing forever on here. Got my JB weld on there. Got just a little bit extra JB weld, so I just thought I'd beef that part up, but you can see I've got it top and bottom. All the tail section is done. The horizontal, vertical, everything is done. I've tested my hinges. Nothing has been glued into place yet, but I have built and make sure that all of my control rods are the right length and that I get enough throw. The only thing I have to do to complete the tail section is we're going to put a navigation light that mounts somewhere in this area. You kind of get so we'll do that. And then that's it for the tail section. So that's just another step done, ready for paint and body work, and getting it closer to flying. I'll show everybody what kind of linkages I have in here. And then I want to go on record by saying that one servo driving the tail wheel and rudder is really not a good idea. Later on during center of gravity, if I find I need some tail weight or something, I will add another servo here. But for right now, I'm going to leave it the way it is, and it may fly like it is, and it's probably going to be okay. But in my experience, one servo connected to the rudder is not always a good idea. Now where the rudder rod comes down through the horizontal, I had to cut a little bit of piece out. And there's a piece in here that runs, that's a spar that runs in here. So you really don't need to add anything to this, but I'm going to dress it up by taking a piece of carbon fiber rod and glue it in there, and then I'll sand out the front side. And it'll just make everything look more clean and neat. It's not necessary for strength wise, but it'll just look better in the long run. Actually, no one will ever see it, but you know, it's just the little details that make, you know, a model even greater than what it can be from the factory. So I just made up this little navigation light. It's going to be a strobe. Not enough material on the fiberglass, it was just too thin, so I added a little piece of quarter block, and eventually I will fiberglass that back to the body so it's nice and clean. And then I just made a little area carve out so it will sit in there, and then I can push the wire in and out. Oops, it fell back down. But anyway, it's just another little project, a little scale piece done. So as you can see, I have the light on now. It looks really cool. The light sticks out that way on the original one. That is supposed to be a strobe. I've never used these ultralight control box before, so I've got to go learn that. So that's something we're going to learn together. Evidently, you've got to program it to get 1 through 8 to work and be a strobe. But anyway, there it is, kind of working, and I think it looks pretty nice. So here is the original tail wheel assembly that comes with the airplane. They want you to use bungees. I didn't have any bungees, but I had a rubber band. You can see how it works right here. It's a nice tail wheel, but it'd be nice to put a spring in here. And of course, I still have a fender to put on this that looks like the real scale airplane. It's a big part of the airplane. I think it needs to be added. So we're going to do that. But I need to get a tail wheel ordered too, so I can build a fender to match that tail wheel. But it'd be nice to put a spring in here somehow. So we're going to think about that and see if we can't get that going. Of course, the full scale had a whole structure in between the elevators, and that's actually where the will actually work these elevators. So there's a big hole here, a big gap. And I think we may make something later on just to kind of fill that in. It'd be all fake, of course, because of course our elevators work with servos. But this is where the real airplane control rods come out and go to each of the elevators. So we may fill that gap in with some fake arms and things just to make this look more scale. Of course, that's an anti-collision light that's on the back, so a flashing light. And of course, it had a tube that come out like that. And I may include a photo here so you guys can see that, what the original one looks like. So it's just a big open gap there that needs something there to make it more scale and to fill that in a little bit. So I'm building some plates here, and I'll show you where they go. These are basically just to make this look a whole lot nicer. And also it is adding a little strength to keep the wings on. But it mainly is to cover up the wooden dowels and to cover up some bad sanding, and just to make it look prettier and nicer and cleaner when the plane is done. So here's what we're covering up. You can tell there's just a little ugly stuff there. So you could clean that with Bondo, but I really want something to keep these wooden dowels from popping out. So this little spacer is going to help out. And then on the outside, you can see I have holes that someone else had slotted that. We need to fix that. And then here's one. It's not too bad, but we need to go in and take high saw and put all, and just fill that in, let it dry, and then sand her down and make this thing look pretty. So here's a little trick. I know the high saw is going to come through the other side when we squeeze it all together. So the tape will just keep everything nice and level and keep it from oozing out on this side until it's dry. So it's just something you need to do before you put the high saw on and screw everything together and clamp it down, because some of that high saw will squeeze into this section. You know, guys, you just can't get enough clamps. No matter how many clamps you have, you still don't have enough. So I got all that high sawed and drying. Went ahead, had a little extra glue to fix that little piece. So everything's getting finished. We're getting closer and closer, getting ready to fly this thing. And we're really getting close to the body work and paint coming up. So another problem is, like when you're putting the side glass in, somebody put the wooden support in, and it's actually in the way of the windshield. It's actually not the windshield, but the side window. So if you put that in, there's no place to glue the window in. So I'm going to have to either carve that piece out, which I don't think I'm going to do, or add a little piece, half round piece, to give me something to actually glue to. And it would just look like overlapping panel, so it shouldn't be a problem. But you know, it's one of those things when you're building, you should always look ahead and make sure you're not screwing yourself up. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for the video. You know, that's pretty much the finished up playing with my tail today. So next part of the video is going to be we'll try to mount this hatch here. We got the cowl to fix. So we're getting very close to finishing everything up as far as the building part. So remember guys, if you like the videos, be sure to subscribe and like, and just let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see more. But anyway, thanks for watching.